Well, comedian Arj Barker is facing intense backlash this morning after telling a breastfeeding mother to leave his show at the Melbourne International Comedy Festival. Here are some, I stress some, of the comments from our viewers. Dion says, mums need to make appropriate decisions for their child, and taking a baby out to a loud concert and to an adult show is probably not in the best interest of the baby. Trina says, I feel like this should be a non-issue. I thought we were past this. Mothers do what you gotta do. And Taryn says, not when it's a show that's adults only. The mother, who was kicked out, appeared with the mother of the nation, Ali Langdon, on ACA last night.
And then he was sort of like, oh no, it's really disruptive, you're interrupting my rhythm. And I was like, okay, and everyone's still laughing. This is louder than she was, I reckon, on the night. And I'm just going to pop her on for a feed, I'm sorry.
Yep, go for your life. I understand the workings of being a new mum. You've got to do what you got to do.
So literally she settles right down.
It was excruciating to watch on ACA last night, but for the best possible reasons. Arj joins us now from Melbourne. Arj, boy,
Carl, my friend.
My man, you have been under the pump. How are you feeling?
I'm so glad I said I want to talk to Carl. That's the only person I want to talk to. You know, we go way back. You know, I love you, and I love this country. I've spent over 20 years touring Australia. I consider it as much as home as anywhere, and I feel really sad to think that people would look at me in a non-positive way. What happened is unfortunate, but first I want to get the record straight, Carl. Yeah. I have nothing against babies. I was a baby for nearly 2 years when I was really young, and then again briefly in my mid-30s in Amsterdam, but that was a misunderstanding. Carl, I came on the show because I want to set the record straight on a couple things that are going around. Number one, the breastfeeding thing is a non-issue. It should be inadmissible. I have no idea if she was breastfeeding or not because I'm on stage. For those that wouldn't know, when you're on a lit stage, seeing the audience is like looking into a dark room while someone shines a flashlight in your face. You can make out shapes, silhouettes. I could see there was likely a woman holding a baby. That's all I could see. The breastfeeding was never part of it. I didn't even hear about that until 2 days after this thing happened. So that was news to me, literally. And yet, you see it all across the media. Breastfeeding mom, breastfeeding mom. That is a non-issue in this thing, because if it were the father, I would have done. I would have acted the exact same way. It had to do with the baby making noise yeah, it was an audio issue purely. It had nothing to do with the mom. I have nothing against moms, obviously, and I want to set that straight. Also, this thing about me saying that I lost my train of thought. It's not about that, Carl. I've been doing comedy for over 30 years now. Actually, I have pretty strong focus. I could work. I can remember my show past a little noise in the audience. I've worked in pubs, nightclubs. I've had wait staffs, people drop drinks. I've worked in outdoor venues. But this was a quiet theater. This was a beautiful, quiet theater. You could hear a pin drop in there. And it's a theatrical show, and I'm trying to do my thing. And it wasn't about me. It was about the audience being able to have the immersion to enjoy the show and enjoy the rhythm and the pauses and the timing. And if you're trying to watch something and there's a noise over here or phone rings over there, it takes you out of it.
Yeah.
That's why I did it, Carl. It's the only reason I said the baby's going to disrupt the show, but it wasn't anything to do with me not being able to perform. It was to do with, on behalf of the audience. I have nothing against anyone, and of course I feel bad for how much angst and upset this has caused.
Yeah.
Because people know me, they know I'm not a bad guy. I'm a gentle person, and I would never, wish harm on anyone. And on that note, there's been a couple comments that people were yelling at the woman. At the time this happened, I was concerned about trying to gently ask her to remove the baby. There were some people shouting, but at that time, I didn't know if they're shouting at me or her. It was a confusing moment. A couple of people might have yelled like, rack off, but that was something that I didn't know if it was directed at me or her, because there was some controversy at the moment. So, Carl,
Arj, it sounds like you need to get a lot off your chest. Hey, listen, my man, because I think you're a great guy, and this kind of didn't sit well with me. I mean, I thought of all things, you'd be honoured. A woman trapped in the psychological, emotional prison of breastfeeding decides her first night out is watching you. I knew you'd get it, but you're saying you weren't even aware of it.
Absolutely.
And if
had no idea if she was breastfeeding or not. that. Let's stop talking about that.
Okay.
I couldn't see well enough to know that, Carl. And I'm glad that you're letting me stress that point. Thank you. I didn't mean to raise my voice, but, I was... Listen, mate, I was sad when Curb Your Enthusiasm went off the air. I didn't realize a week later I'd be living it. This is something that I want to clear up. I have no animosity towards anyone. I just want to tell jokes and do a great show every time I do a show, and this was in the interest of that. I have nothing against the woman. And her child. It's a cute kid. So yeah.
All right. What about this? We're out of time because you obviously. I feel like Oprah here. You're just getting stuff.
I know.
Off your
What
chest.
about the Prime Minister? I mean, he goes on a bit, doesn't he?
Hey, so what about this to clear things up? She's coming on the show in a little bit. What about you do a show for just the audience is filled with breastfeeding mums, and we do a special Arj Barker show and special.
Well, I also feel bad for the kid, and so I want to offer her child a complimentary ticket to my show, and it's post-dated 2039.
It's good to talk to you, my man.
Lots of love, Carl, and lots of love to everyone out there, and thank you for taking the time to listen to what I have to say and respect that, get your information from a good source.
All right.
Thank you.
Love your work. Good on you, Arj. Thank you.
Comedian Arj Barker isn't backing down after booting a breastfeeding mum from his show in Melbourne. Today, Melbourne reporter Christina Hearn has the details for us. And Chris, the mother says she's been humiliated.
Yeah, that's right, Jane. She said that she was also intimidated just by the way it all unfolded. Mum Trish decided to come here to Arj Barker's show at this city theatre on Saturday night and bring little 7-month-old Clara with her. Now, she said she was breastfeeding at the time. The baby was making a little bit of noise, but certainly not crying. She said she was prepared to leave the theatre immediately if that happened. But Arj Barker, on the microphone in front of everyone, said that she and her baby needed to leave the show. She said there was about a dozen audience members that got up and left in solidarity, but she said there were others in the crowd that actually heckled her on the way out.
The gist of it was that we were interrupting his rhythm, and that we should basically leave. Nobody wants to feel unwanted, and when you're getting basically booed out of a place, you definitely feel unwanted.
Arj Barker certainly isn't backing down. He said he made the decision on behalf of the 700 or so other audience members. He says he's not against public breastfeeding. He says, in fact, he is in support of it. But he says the show clearly shows it is for audience members 15 years and above, and that theatre staff should have never have let the baby in. Jane.
All right. Christina Hearn there. I say any mum who's breastfeeding and gets out of the house, I take my hat off and salute them. It's an effort, isn't it?
There's so much more to come out on that.
Hey there, Today fans. Sarah and...
What's my name again?
Oh my goodness, Carl.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel, though. Subscribe now for more news, special reports, and amazing Aussie stories.
And Carl misbehaving,
Whoa,
of course.
that never happens.
Always happens.
What's she talking about?
Always happens.